Hello, everybody, and welcome to a call with Dr. Cook. My name is George Wright, and I'm here with Dr. Vaughn Cook. It's July 28th, Dr. Cook. The summer's almost over.
It's a sad thing, George.
We like summertime.
Unless you're living in Australia, then maybe it's a happy thing.
Then it's just getting good, isn't it? Isn't that the great thing about Limbic Arc is doesn't matter where you are, maybe we could migrate like geese.
True.
Anyway, we're glad that you're here with us today. We're excited to have a call with Dr. Cook and hear what you have to say. First of all, let me give you some product updates. We have some exciting new additions to the Limbic Arc family, and you will notice that we have a new category. So when you look at your library of ingredients, there are categories, and we have a new category for Schussler cell salts. We have 2 exciting new InfoBoosts, and we've got 12 great new ingredients to go along with that, Dr. Cook. Is there a theme with these categories and ingredients and in the boosts?
Well, the Schussler cell salts are used homeopathically. There's 12 of them in that category. Some of them were already in the library. We had to add a few others. You'll notice in this list of 12 on the right, some of those are Schussler cell salts. And then the 5-element harmonizer, male and female, those 2 InfoBoosts, I want to give a shout out to Angelica and Mogdi. They've been using these for some months, and they're having good success with them. They tell me that the people who use these are getting a noticeable effect. And you know, one of the challenges we have with Limbic Arc is we tell people, hey, turn on this InfoBoost and then see what you notice. And sometimes people don't notice anything. It's nice to have InfoBoosts that create an impact that they actually can sense, because it's a feeling thing is what happens most of the time with Limbic Arc until you get into the groove and know what's going on.
So the 5-element harmonizer, does that have to do with hormones, or is it?
Well, it would have to do with everything. In traditional Chinese medicine, they divide the body into 5 elements, and different organs exist in one or the other of the elements, and then they all interact with each other in certain ways and counteract each other in certain ways. And this InfoBoost, the intent is to balance the whole system, but it's done through a 5-element perspective.
Well, that actually sounds like another topic for another day.
It actually could be.
Right. So let's talk about today, Dr. Cook. I see the title for our conversation, our discussion today is emotions, but then I also see a little teaser there, part 1 of 3.
Yes, and the reason that it's part 1 of 3, George, is we're going to deal with this over the next few months, and it's in anticipation of an addition to Limbic Arc that we are building at the present time that deals with emotions in a more direct way. But by talking about emotions in a 3-part series, it will have a chance to get a firm foundation that we can then build our understanding and build the application of this new feature set that we're putting into Limbic Arc.
And Dr. Cook.
So hang on for things to come. I expect we'll have this out before the end of the year. I don't want to commit any sooner than that, but I will commit that we will release it as soon as we can. We're as excited about this as anybody.
I am, excited about this. I know that emotions is a great topic, and I know that we've addressed it in several other conversations, Dr. Cook, but I just need everybody to understand the depth of experience that you have in doing emotional work. You've been doing emotional work and been building products to help work with emotions for decades. And so coming from you, it's really an honor and a treat to be able to listen to one of the pioneers in the industry here. So setting that up, Dr. Cook. I mean, I can't wait to hear what you're going to say, and I'll turn it over to call with Dr. Cook.
Well, let's get going then.
Yeah.
Let me move to the next slide here. Did it advance, George?
Yes, it did. It
Okay.
looks great.
We're in good shape then. Emotions are part of physiology, and it's impossible to disconnect them. Sometimes people say, well, I'm not really in touch with my emotions, and that can be true. Or I don't have emotions, and that's not true. But some people are more emotional, which means they're just more sensitive or more attuned to their emotions. As a rule, women tend to be more emotional than men. And I think that has to do with physiology, but that doesn't mean that men aren't emotional. And every disease process has an emotional component. Every situation you could be in life has some kind of emotion attached to it. And all of these elements on this triad of health, the function, the emotion, and the energy, they're all tied together. And these arrows only go one way, but they actually go both ways. There's no energy just doesn't impact function and so on. It impacts everything else. So here's an example. Let's say that you have a conversation with one of your good friends. And this is an experience I'm sure all of us have had. And during that conversation, this is the way your friend comes across. And you take in the information of the conversation, and we do this with all information we receive. We run it through our belief system. And I'm not just talking about our religious beliefs. I'm talking about our beliefs about everything, because we have a belief about everything in life. Okay. We run that information through our belief system, and we create then a perception. And that perception will then create an energy influence on the body, and the energy influence will then cause amino acids to organize into different structures. And each structure has a different emotion attached to it. So the structure that may occur in this case would be, let's say you're sad, or maybe you're confused, or maybe you're angry at this conversation you had with your friend because she came across so, mean.
Right.
So after a couple of days of brooding on this, and you go over it in your mind and you wonder what's going on, finally you say, I'm just going to pick up the phone and give her a call. And so you pick up the phone and you expect that this is what you're going to get when she answers, but instead, this is what you get. It's kind of like your old friend is back again. And you talk on the phone and you say, we had that conversation a couple of days ago and it was really upsetting to me. And you explain the situation and she says, oh my goodness, I am so sorry that I came across that way. And then she explains something that was going on in her life that was making her really upset and really tense and really, mean. And you go, oh my gosh, I totally understand. I'm so sorry that happened. I thought you were mad at me. And she said, oh, no, heavens no, I'm not mad at you. It was this other circumstance you had nothing to do with, and I just didn't know how to filter it out of our conversation. I'm sorry. So what happens now is you've got new information. It changes your perception. The energy then, the energy reaction that is created causes those peptides to organize in a different way. And bingo, your emotion changes, and it happens almost immediately. This whole experience, sometimes you'll be mad at somebody and you'll be talking, maybe you're talking to your kids and you're saying, hey, blah, blah, blah. And then the phone rings and you pick up the phone and you say, hello. We're kind of schizophrenic in a way, but our emotions can change quickly. And this is the way it works.
Right.
So there are other ways that we can change emotion. For example, we could take the peptide structure of a particular emotion and we could inject that into you, and that would create a change. So it kind of bypasses the energy side. it doesn't bypass the information side, because one of the reasons that our emotions change is because the peptide structure carries its own instruction set with it. Another way we could change your emotions is to expose you to some kind of an outside stimulus. If you've ever heard a good violin player, you know that violins have a voice, and that voice can stir emotions. I mean, sometimes you might listen to a nice, sad violin song, and lo and behold, you start to cry, and you say, I don't know why I'm crying, because nobody's saying anything nasty to me, but for some reason, the energy that's coming from this violin is just stirring up this emotion and making me cry.
Right.
Well, Limbic Arc deals with information exclusively. It's not injecting anything, and it's not a frequency generator. It's dealing with energy, or dealing with information. And information is what is conveyed by an arrangement of things. And so you arrange things in a different way, they convey different meaning, and that conveyance is what information is. So the information that Limbic Arc uses is contained in a database in the cloud, and that database has in it 730 plus different boost ingredients.
The library is getting bigger and bigger. Yes, it's over 730 now.
Right. Well, those items in our library, we call them virtual items because we don't actually store the item there, but we have a technique for linking the binary code that's there with the actual item. And so they are representations of things like chemicals or herbs, or an imponderable like the sun, or minerals, or mushrooms, or Schussler cell salts. When you then run a spark scan, all of those items in the library get a score for you, and then you select the ones you want and hit the activate button. And through an entangled relationship that exists between you and your account and the database, that information is then conveyed to you, and it impacts your triangle of health as information, just like the information that you may have taken in from the conversation with your friend that we talked about earlier.
Sure.
And because we're dealing with the part of the body that is the smartest, that is the subconscious, that information is then incorporated. And I've seen numerous examples, and I know a lot of our affiliates and customers have seen numerous examples of the value of information and the miraculous things that your body can do with it. So the takeaway for this presentation really, George, is that emotion is an integral part of life. And everything we do has emotion as part of it. And that's it.
Well, and so literally the InfoBoosts impact emotion in that way. I mean, maybe, and it's funny because the more we know, the more sense it makes sometimes, but just the fact to know that is where it begins is very powerful.
Well, people say, can you help me with my emotional health? And the answer is yes, but it doesn't matter what you do, it's going to help your emotional health. In other words, if I say, here's a vitamin, or here's a drug, or here's an acupuncture needle, or here's a massage, or here's an exercise you can do, all of those things will have an impact on emotions, because this triad of health, we're connected to everything.
Oh, fantastic. Great. Well, I'm excited. I'm excited to continue our conversation with emotions. I know that there's more coming down the pathway here, and I'm very excited about what this is going to mean for us. In the meantime, use your InfoBoost. It sounds like that's if you're feeling like you want to work on your emotional wellness, use your InfoBoost. Use your Spark Scan and see the impact that it makes.
Well, and remember, voice is topic specific. So when you do your Spark scan, talk about what it is that you'd like help with. And if, for example, you've had a troubling relationship, let's say with your friend, you can talk about that. And what will show up on the score then are the things that will have the most positive impact. They'll get the higher scores. And if you put those into your InfoBoost, you'll be surprised that it will actually have an impact on what it was that you talked about.
Well, and it's interesting because I know that there are a lot of times that people they become emotional, like you talked earlier. They become emotional and they're not really sure why. It's just so entangled with so many aspects of our lives.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well,
Fun
Dr.
stuff.
Great. Well, I would let everyone know that we'll be publishing this here and we'll put it out to YouTube. But Dr. Cook, we've got some questions that we'd like to go through. If you've got a couple of minutes, let's go through a couple of questions. Thank you for submitting questions to those who submit to Ask Dr. Cook at limbicarc.com. And if you send in a question, we're happy to address these in this format. We can't get to all of them, but we've got 3 of them that we'd like to address right now. So let's start with Dr. Cook. How does Limbic Arc technology work in conjunction with drugs or supplements that I'm already physically taking?
Very well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very well, meaning it interacts very well, or very well.
Right.
Thank you for asking the question.
No, it works very well. It interacts very well. I sometimes tell this story about the woman who came into my clinic with the symptoms of scurvy. And I learned from her that her diet was rich in vitamin C, and she was actually taking vitamin C, and it didn't make any sense why she would be suffering or manifesting scurvy symptoms with all that vitamin C on board. Mm-hmm. And so I made the equivalent of an InfoBoost for her, and lo and behold, over a matter of just a few days, all of her scurvy symptoms disappeared.
That's amazing.
The Limbic Arc just gives you information. And because information is so foundational to everything about life, and we're concerned here with quality of life. We're not concerned with diagnosing or treating your diseases, but we're interested in improving the quality of people's lives. And information is probably the most foundational aspect of how do you improve somebody's life. It's just with the right information. And you don't have to take the information in as a conscious level. You can take it in a subconscious level. So the answer is, it just makes your life better. And so if you're taking some good drugs, or you're taking some good supplements, or you're eating some healthy food, an InfoBoost should just make all that work better.
I know that I've heard people talk about potential blockages and other things that possibly can happen with physical products, and the information seems to somehow bypass some of those blockages, making the InfoBoost very effective, maybe when a physical product may not.
Yeah, I've heard Ron Spence, our master affiliate, talk about that. He's got a rather eloquent explanation of how it works, or how it could work, and I think that he's got it.
Oh, great. Okay, Dr. Cook, next question. I haven't had a restful night's sleep in a long time. What do you suggest?
Well, we have an InfoBoost called Sleep. You could try that. And the way I would do that is I would do a Spark scan, and then I would go to the Sleep InfoBoost and look where the scores come in. And I wouldn't necessarily turn on everything in that InfoBoost, but I'd turn on the top items. And when I say the top items, you might want to take down to 60 or 70%, that number. But turn that on and see if it helps. The way we build InfoBoosts is not to treat a condition. It's an aggregation of items that have a known impact in that particular area. So when you look at the Sleep InfoBoost as an example, you'll see things in there like magnesium and melatonin. And, these are things that we know can help someone have a better sleep if they actually physically take that. With the InfoBoost, we're just giving you the information, but I know there's a lot of people who've told me that they turn on that Sleep InfoBoost and they get the best night's sleep they've had in a long time.
Yeah. Well, and I know that we've just talked about emotion, and working even on your emotions, I'm sure can impact your sleep.
Yes. Well,
If-
and you're certainly going to be less grumpy if you get enough sleep. At least I am.
Right. Well, I've never seen you grumpy, Dr. Cook, but I know that if you're angry or if you're upset, I mean, certainly emotion can have a negative impact, and I would assume a positive impact on sleep.
Yeah, well, it goes both ways for sure.
Okay. Okay. Next question, Dr. Cook, and this is kind of an interesting one. Why would I use any of the pre-programmed InfoBoost instead of just using the custom InfoBoost? Meaning, I'm sure there's a Spark scan that they're talking about in here. I'm sure that they would be using the custom InfoBoost, but I guess they're just scanning the entire library just to see what comes up. I guess that's certainly one approach.
Let me tell you how I use them.
Okay.
So let's say sleep is the issue. So when I create the Spark scan, I would say either I'm having a hard time sleeping or I'm sleeping crappy, or I'd say, I'd really like to have a better night's sleep than I'm getting. Doesn't matter if you talk negative or positive, just stay on topic. So my Spark scan is initiated by talk from me about sleep. Then what I do is I go into the Sleep InfoBoost and I take the top items in the InfoBoost because I know those items have a known effect in improving sleep. But then after that, I go to the all category. Instead of the categories, I go to all, which is the whole library, and I look for the very top items. And I might have a couple of items in there that scored 99 or 97%. It could be higher than the things in the Sleep InfoBoost. And so I'll include the top 1 or 2 or 3 of those, and then that's the boost I'll turn on. So take advantage of the knowledge that's gone into the construction of the InfoBoosts, but your custom Spark scan, can guide you to other things that may not show up in the Sleep InfoBoost or in any of those InfoBoosts. And the problem with your sleep might not be what you think it is. You might be having a sleep issue and you don't need melatonin. You need something that's generally not related or not known to be related to sleep. And so it hasn't been included in the InfoBoost. That's why I like to go to the all category and just see what's really at the top.
Right. I know for my InfoBoost, it's good to have a topic in mind because if for some reason it gives me something to measure against. If I'm running a sleep InfoBoost, I'm focused on my sleep and I can measure it to see how it's working for me. A custom InfoBoost is something that I would use more generally to find out what's coming up so that I can get a little better insights into how things are functioning. But that's just the way I use it.
Right. Yeah. I think that's appropriate.
Okay. Well, that's great. We appreciate the questions that have come in. We'll continue to go ahead and do that in the future. So please take some time. If you've got some questions you'd like us to discuss in a public forum here with Dr. Cook, send them in to askdrcook@limbicarc.com. I give a quick reminder, our next call will be Wednesday, August 25th. That's going to be at 10 a.m. Mountain Time, which is where we're coming from. And we'll publish that as well. But in the meantime, if you would like to have a little bit of help setting up an InfoBoost, or if you're having struggles with your account or just need a little bit of information, please go ahead to the Contact Us section of limbicarc.com. You'll see a link there for customer success, and go ahead and contact customer success. They're fantastic. They'd be great to work with you and help you out. And please feel free to go and get the help that you need. It would be a shame for someone that had the ability to use InfoBoost that didn't use it because of a silly reason. So just make sure that you've got everything functioning the way that you need. Our people are there to help in the customer success department. They're fantastic, and I encourage you to do that. Also, we'll be sending out an announcement email with a replay link, and you can also find the replay links for previous Limbic Arc calls with Dr. Cook on the top of the web page. And so also, please feel free to go and subscribe to our YouTube channel. All of their calls are there as well. So, and one final reminder, hey, when the webinar ends, you just as well, there'll be a page. You can just sign up for the next month's call. If you'll do that, we'll go ahead and keep you updated on that. Make sure that you're there and signed up and registered for the next call. So again, for the month of July, Dr. Cook, thank you. We look forward to using Limbic Arc to work on emotions. We look forward to getting more information and some of the exciting new things that you've talked about with Limbic Arc. So until then, we wish everybody happiness and wellness, and use those InfoBoosts, and let's make the world a better place, one InfoBoost at a time. Thanks all.